Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Tarot for Our Times. Of course, this is for entertainment purposes only. And again, what I say about health, mental or physical, about anyone in these readings would never be said to a client in a private sitting. So I also want to say that I am available to do readings and events. So I believe that the big story today in world affairs, and this is world affairs, is that god awful thing that the Orange Menace said about what he would do with NATO, and I mean, this is just almost too awful to repeat, that if they didn't pay up their dues, he would basically sic Putin on them. Um, a lot of people are saying, oh, that's him talking out of his hat, but I believe that we should really believe that we should really take him for face value and for what he means. So I would say that probably the rest of the world is standing with hopefully the majority of Americans and hoping that he's just not going to get that chance. So I've been hearing on the news today that of all the horrible things that would happen if he were to do that and just let, Putin takes Ukraine, then Estonia, then Poland, and where have we heard this all before? So we've heard that end of it. But what I want to go into right now is how is the rest of the world what are they thinking? How are they reacting to this? And because I think in the here and the now, forget about the future, but in the here and the now, how are they reacting? And looking at this, if God forbid this authority, this horrible thing would happen, what are they going to be doing? So we're going to take a quick look, and I'm going to try to make this a short one for today. So let's see what we have going on here as I lower the boom here. Okay, I'm one of those people that uses multiple decks. That's kind of my style. So what are they thinking right now? And that they must be kind of stunned, but and then I will be doing the second reading on what they may be doing in preparation to anticipate if the worst should happen. So part one is going to be how are they reacting right now. So let's see, the first card is the Nine of Pentacles upright, and it is crossed with the energy of the okay, this is very interesting. This is telling me that at the moment, which this is a little bit of a surprise for me, to be quite honest. At the moment, the Nine of Pentacles is the comfortable, wealthy woman who pretty much has everything going for it. So I'm going to say, and she's very much kind of wrapped up in her own world. So what I want to say about this is that right now, I don't know that they've had much time to react, but and I would say that maybe they may be cool and calm about this, but it's crossed with the energy of the Knight of Wands, and this guy is off and running. He's ready to catch fire. It's a very young energy. So what I'm going to say is that underneath it all, this is what this is telling me right now. Underneath it all, they're kind of ready to get things prepared, get in preparation. But I think what this is saying, they're keeping the cool exterior, knowing that he's not president. We have So this is what this is saying, but underneath all of this, they're not showing this, but they're just, their blood is boiling right now over this. Okay. So in the past, there's been kind of they've felt a relief from not having had him in the White House for a while, but but this could be telling me that could be very well about to change. So we have the Four of Rods in reverse, which is pretty much about our alliance with all of these countries. So they're worried about if this is literally going to be upset, and that and pondering. And I've seen some other readers see that Four of Wands is the White House. I can kind of go with that too, is one meaning, and worried about the upset, if there's an upset White House. Then we have, oh no, this is different. We have the Nine of, a couple of nines here. Okay, so we have the Nine of Rods, which is, what they're saying is, you know what? We're looking at history. We've been through this before. This is an awful lot like the late 1930s, mid to late 1930s. We were able to recover from that, and we're going to be ready. We're going to be ready, but knowing that we've seen this all before, but whatever they're feeling, they're going to kind of pick themselves, go into a momentary panic, then pick themselves up and get ready to be ready for whatever happens. So beneath this calm exterior and this resting thing, I think there's kind of, this also indicates kind of a time to reflect a little bit, and let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. So, because so much of their peace and our peace depends on NATO. So let's see. In the past, again, the Nine of Wands, they've been through the battle, but they've gotten back up to fight another day. So that, I mean, I want to say that 75 to 80 years ago in the course of history isn't that long ago, and they do remember. So the Three of Wands, that they've been kind of keeping an eye on us and knowing the potential of all of this. So it's not like they've been living in any kind of fool's paradise, but I think they've been keeping an eye across the ocean. So we've got that, and the Three of Pentacles. So this is very interesting. The Three of Pentacles is about, a lot of it is about negotiating and diplomacy, that sort of thing, especially in the traditional deck where you have the man on the bench with the two patrons of the arts. So I think this is getting the preparedness, and also maybe taking that they've been making sure that they've got their finances together too. So, but maybe not to pay the bribe, but just maybe just in case. So let's see, in the future, we've got Four of Wands upright. This guy here is in reverse. We've got it upright, which is good to they will be letting us know before the alliance, before the election, of where their alliances stand, and knowing that Biden's opponent is not going to be good for the states and won't be good for their interests, and they may be a little bit more vocal about how they feel about our election coming up. So then the Six of Pentacles, it's kind of like the give and the take. Well, there's also the whole thing of this god-awful Congress not giving money for Ukraine. So I'm going to say that I'm feeling as though there are some give and take bargains, and maybe sort of kind of a loan thing that we will be paying them back to be able to help the Ukrainians and their war. And yes, so there's a lot of kind of like a give and take in the whole and what this is telling me is that there will be some charitable organizations also that will be funneling money to Ukraine, and also that and this is something that's been in the back of my mind, that possibly some of the money seized a couple years ago, when this began from the oligarchs, that money may be slipped out to help the Ukrainians. So there's that possibility. Then the Seven of Swords is, as time goes on, this is about, he's in reverse. He's in reverse here. Yep, he's in reverse. So the Seven of Swords in reverse is about the corrupt thief, which is, well, you know who, and his color is orange. So we have that. We have that thief, but when it's in reverse, I see it as he's gotten away with things so long that they're on to him, and they're going to be ready to pounce, which is kind of what it's going to bring us into the part 2 of this. So I'm going to add a little something new to this, and for the overall energy of this thing, I've got these beautiful oracle cards. So I'm going to pick an oracle card to kind of wrap up this. The Awakening. Very good. So, and this kind of goes with this, if some people have not been over in Europe, have not been paying attention, or kind of wanted to forget about how awful he is, I'm feeling that there is, after this speech, that there is an awakening to know that there is a common enemy that is threatening their peace and world peace, and making such a foolish statement. So I'm going to shuffle the cards, get these cards up and shuffle them. And let's get this up a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to shuffle the cards, and then part 2 is going to be, okay, what's going on in Brussels. I'm going to say that this probably came up early enough in the day before they had to, because they've got 6 hours difference from us. So they're before they had it to pack up for the day. I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be there was going to be some dinner meetings in Brussels this evening, because this is very serious. This is really at their doorstep. I've been, my guides and whatnot have been telling me that their history and feelings around World War II are fresh enough, and saying we cannot let this happen today. So I'm getting that. I've been getting that really, really strong. They're just not going to be sitting ducks. That's pretty much all there is to it, because they know this history, and a lot of people that have been Holocaust survivors have said from the get-go, as soon as he went down that escalator, that so much, they said they see so much of what was happening in the 1930s before it all hit the fan. So, okay, we're going to be seeing, what are they doing? What are they going to be doing right now to get it, or what are they talking about? What are they going to be doing to prepare for the worst? Because, this is just like even too much to think about. Okay, so let's put this down here. Okay, so what have we got going on now? So we have the King of Pentacles. Okay, upright. I'm going to say, it looks like one of the leaders, one of the EU leaders, is very likely saying we've got to look at our money, our finances, to see what we can do to be prepared in case of the worst, or maybe what we can do to prevent the worst from happening. Not like they're going to interfere in our elections, but I think they'll do everything they can to make themselves be heard. It's also important to realize that our men and women in the service are stationed at these countries that Putrid is salivating over. Okay, so we have justice. Okay. Oh, this is very interesting, because not only are we going to Brussels, but I think this is telling me justice, The Hague, which could mean a Jack Smith connection. It could mean, it could mean, like, I think what they're doing is probably getting a tally of the oligarchs and possible war criminals and that sort of thing, and maybe going to be keeping an eye on them and feeling like anything that's been on hold, we've got to make this a priority to bring some of these Russians to justice, and maybe to, get some of the links in the chain of the disaster that could be happening. So I'm feeling that very strongly. I will say I don't know that we're going to be hearing about this, even if you tune in the BBC. Okay. Three of Swords is the heartbreak of knowing how awful the former number 45 was. So this is telling me that this really was a heartbreaker from them, and that the pain is still fresh enough that they haven't forgotten this in the past. Here we go, and I shuffled these up. The Four of Rods, and that means that they are going to be strengthening their alliance with the present White House, and strengthening their alliance with the U.S. Okay, so we have the Knight of Cups in reverse, which is telling me that there are some sickos over there who, in some of those countries, I want to say like Italy, Turkey, and Hungary, that where they have some very, very bad leaders. And I would say this card is saying very likely mentally unbalanced leaders that they have to deal with. So I'm going to say they're getting prepared for that sort of thing too. So I'm going to say that I'm going to say that I get a sense that the EU and NATO all together are really looking at the future and putting some things in place to be prepared in case the worst should happen, and also doing what they can. And there's no reason why they can't make big donations to the Biden campaign. Okay. In the past, the very, very strong alliance that NATO and the EU have had towards the U.S., and it's very, from this you can see that it's very, very strong. And it's a very emotional thing too, which tells me that the memories of World War II still live. They're still very strong. So then we have the Moon. So the Moon in reverse. So that's like all the little sicko secrets that are really, have been kind of festering, that are now going to be coming up to the present. Then we have the Fool in reverse. So they're very aware of what the last one did, that he's very foolish. He's a loose cannon. He can go off uncocked. I'm sure that part of this is about making sure that whatever nuclear secrets, this or that, that he may have in one of those boxes in Florida have all been chained. I think that they started doing that in the past. I think that when that story broke, I think that they started changing a lot of stuff to make a lot of that stuff in the bathroom obsolete. Okay, so in the future, Wheel of Fortune. So this is karma and good fortune. So what this is saying, if we get our ducks in a row and work closely with this administration, we're just going to be prepared. That's all we can do is be prepared, because this is really serious stuff. I can't. Then we have the Queen of Cups in reverse. So she's a very needy, emotionally unstable person, female energy. She wants to be loved, but she just doesn't know how to give it. So I would say, according to Denise, the psychologist, that pretty much describes his psyche, and that if they're going to deal with him in the future, they have to be really aware of it, read her books, know which I feel as though that may be in the works, that they know who they could be dealing with psychologically. Then we have the Knight of Wands, which I believe a lot of the court cards in reverse could be him. That is his mental, I'm seeing this as his mental facilities and self-control, not that he had any to begin with in the first place. It's only going to get worse, and that hair trigger thing is going to be very, very serious stuff, incredibly serious. So I think even if he isn't back in power, I feel as though they have to be just prepared for a lot of stuff that, I mean, with the shenanigans he's pulled about not financing the border or Ukraine and this and that they know that he may not go gently into that good night unless he's, dead or something. And that's another story altogether, but we won't go there. Okay, so I'm going to say is that they're very well aware of what's going on. They're going to be prepared. So, and I want to say the energy of the Oracle card is that we have change here. Whoa, let's see. We don't want that light shining on it. Change. So there is there's the owl in there with the wisdom, knowing that they've got to be flexible and ready to change and ready to go into action. This could actually be, even if the worst doesn't happen, is to know that when we have psychos like him still walking the earth and the crazies in Congress, that they know that they have to be, who are holding up the aid that Ukraine needs so badly, that that they know that there are other parts of government, and they've got to be really adaptable and ready to change on a dime. So to me, that the cards are saying that's encouraging. So now we have our moment of stench for today. And this is a double diaper, double clothespin, Stinko Rooney. And that is, and trust me, I am anything but a fan of hers, but his latest statement on Major Haley, Nikki Haley's husband, who is I believe in South Africa, and he's serving our country and he's working to protect us. I don't have to love her or her policies, but I do have a respect for those. And I do love how she's been on a real tear with him today. I don't even think it's trying to change the votes, but I would say she wants to make people in her party aware of what a stinker that he is. I mean, this is to go after someone in the middle is a whole pail of dirty Depends that haven't been folded up and the lid put down. This is, excuse me, but this is how stinky that is. So I want to see what, very quickly, maybe just a couple of cards. I think I'll just do a three card deal here and just see what the ramifications of this. I mean, they talk about Biden and having a gaffe about the president of Mexico. Whoops. I mean, all of this stuff is, I don't know why they're so concentrated on that when this other stuff is just so god awful. So we have here, we have the Hanging Man, which to me is all about, they're just going to keep doing it. He's just going to keep doing it. He's just stuck there, and it's like business as usual. He's just going to hang there, and he's not going to change anything. Then we have, oh, the Sun in reverse, which, this is very interesting. In this particular deck, it's kind of like upright. It's a lot of energy with all the planets revolving around the sun. This tells me, with this being in reverse, that he is, he thinks that everything is revolving around him and that this gives him power, when in fact this is going to be quite a very mediocre outcome for him. So then we have, oh boy, I've been waiting for this one all this time. Okay, all day I've been waiting for this. Then we have the Tower. I'm going to say, in the long run, that's a disaster, because the whole thing is that, let's suppose he tries a repeat of January 6th, or he, God forbid, he wins. I don't even want to go there. The thing is, in order to have a coup d'etat, you need the military. And he can't get rid of everyone who, there's too much water under the bridge. I would say that anything he tries like that, I just don't see him getting the military. There may be some of the underlings, and I've got a theory about some of these veterans that were at January 6th, and it may sound flip, but I'm seeing them as with PTSD and self-medicating with the meth they cooked up in the kitchen. You know, that's the only explanation. I don't see how any military person in their right mind can support him after all, you know, how he's insulted with with Major Haley being the latest. But I'm going to say that in the end, it doesn't look like it's going to have the big effect that he hopes that it has, and that this is a very mediocre kind of a result. So at any rate, excuse the phone from ringing. At any rate, I think that will do it for today. So I wanted to keep the time down, so I did. So hopefully a bit later in the week, I'm going to try to do another live. So everybody have a good evening, and try not to listen to the news and the polls and all that stuff too much, because they've been wrong before, and my colleagues and I have been right. So at any rate, I will wish you a good evening, and bye-bye.